Okay, good evening, everybody. Ready? All right, okay. I'd like to open the public hearing for tonight, May 18th, 2022. The first public hearing we're going to have is a review of the franchise renewal agreement between the town and Cablevision System Corp. Of Dutchess County. This is important. By law, we have to have this public hearing to review the franchise renewal agreement. Just so that everybody knows, we have thoroughly, our attorney, we sent it to our attorney. The town board members have had this for several months. Councilman John Welsh and I have worked with the members, the team from Altice several months before that. So we've been looking at this for some time. After our attorney's comments that were completely accepted by Cablevision or Altice on behalf of that Dutchess County Corp they've set up. We feel that the contract has been thoroughly vetted. And so tonight we're going to have this public hearing to ask for any comments that you might have on this agreement. So with that, I'd like to introduce John Delegan. And John, you may want to introduce Samantha. The two of you are going to walk us through the contract a little bit, and then you're not just here to, we will let people make comments, but if you want to give us a brief overview, that would be great.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm John Delegan, Director of Government Affairs for Altice. With me is my colleague, Samantha Pardell Jerez, who is the Manager of Government Affairs for Altice. And as the supervisor said, we've been working for months with the town on the renewal of this agreement. I can quickly just walk through the highlights of the agreement and the purpose of it. So this is a video franchise agreement required by all cable providers in New York by the New York Public Service Commission. It's a non-exclusive agreement, meaning any other provider can come in and provide service within the town. The agreement allows Altice access to the right-of-way for our infrastructure and to build and to maintain and upgrade our infrastructure in exchange for 5% of gross revenues collected from subscribers within the town. And just a quick point here that I've mentioned before, this is a video franchise, so broadband is unregulated. So that is something that is not in the confines of this agreement. The franchise agreement is substantially the same as the previous agreement. It's for a term of 10 years and becomes effective upon confirmation by the New York Service Public Commission or New York State Public Service Commission. The service area includes the entire town of Washington. Our hybrid fiber system is completely built out throughout the town and no construction is needed for that portion of the network. I will pause and say there that we are building out a fiber to the home network, which is underway, and we've built it out in other areas of our lower portion of our footprint. We're coming more north now, which will be a completely fiber end-to-end network for every single home within our footprint. We'll be providing up to 5 gigs of broadband speed for every single home, which will be the fastest in the tri-state area. We also provide free service to municipal locations, which are identified in the agreement. And the agreement will continue to provide a franchise fee of, as I mentioned earlier, of 5% of gross revenues. And in addition to that, we're providing a capital grant for the public education and government access channel of $17,000, which is payable within 30 days of the effective date of this agreement. So that's the general overview. And I'll pause there for any questions or if we want to open it up to the public.
I have a question. The fiber, how did you describe the fiber? Is it?
So it's go
ahead.
Right. So end to end. So right now we have a hybrid network, meaning our backbone is fiber, but once we get into the neighborhood, it's coax, which goes from glass to electrical. So now we're going to go complete glass, meaning fiber, all the way through to the customer's home and inside the customer's home to the device. So you might have heard of FiOS before, in the past. It's similar to the same network Verizon built with FiOS. Meaning, the investment we've already invested over $1 billion, and we're very committed to this build out to future proof for our customers.
That's great.
That is good. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a comment?
No. What is the name for the cable company now?
That's a good question. We have a bit of an identity crisis. I think what we refer to ourselves from the customer end is Optimum. That's the customer facing name. Before, as you may know, we were Cablevision. That's the parent company. So Altice bought Cablevision. So Cablevision is no longer part of the equation. It's Altice is the parent company and Optimum remains the customer facing name.
And who's Optimum?
Isn't Optimum a brand? I mean, that's one of
Yes,
your.
it's just a brand essentially. Yes, it's just a
Optimum is a
brand.
brand. Altice USA is your parent company.
That's right.
Checks the
Did you
Optimum.
tell them to just stay with one name?
Stay with Optimum, man.
It's tricky stuff.
Okay, so next question. There were trucks with Optimum names, like 4 or 5 trucks today going up the Clove Road.
That's not, can we talk about that later? That's an agenda. You can talk about that at the end of the 10 business. We want to move through.
Clarify what
No,
they-
he's here to talk about the contract. So I know the answer to that question anyway. We'll cover that during public comments during town issues, okay? All right, does anybody, do you have a comment to make for,
I have a question. Will the prices go up? They keep going up on us and the service is not any better.
did you hear that? Are the prices going up? The prices are have been going up and the service, I think the service has gotten a little bit better, but maybe
My
not in Helga's house. So,
no, it's very slow there.
Sure. So first off, we can take, if Helga wants to provide her name and address, we can take a look at it, make sure everything's working, do a diagnostics and make sure if you want to send me that, I can do it, have our team look into it to make sure your service is exactly what you're paying for.
The computer service, which is real slow.
I'm sorry, what was that?
that might be a different issue, but we'll let John and his folks take a look at it. I've got your address.
Also, most of us have that like TV, cable, you know, for the computer.
Yes.
You know how often I don't have a phone? Thank God I have a cell phone. Because once,
So what do you want him to know?
is that going to stay that way? So if one gets interrupted.
Do you hear that?
all three
The
get
triple play?
interrupted?
I didn't understand the question though. I'm sorry. What was the question?
You have like the triple play where you've got your phone and your TV
Yep.
and
It's a package deal.
the package deal, if it goes down, I think all three of them go down, correct?
Yes.
If it go, yes, well, no, I will say this, if broadband goes down, because they're not all the same, so broadband and voice, if they go down, they'll go down together, but video will not always go down along with those other two services. If you're meaning loss of service, they typically, because voice is provided over broadband, so those two, internet and voice, will go down if they go down, but television may not, right? So they're not always going down at the same time.
Definitely is always there.
So you can sit around and watch TV, but you can't talk to anybody. It's a complicated network. Okay, does anybody else have any comments for the people at Altice about the contract? Any of you gentlemen have any comments or anything? Final call. Okay, I think that we are all set. We have a resolution that we're going to put up at the end of the meeting. It'll be offered and seconded and discussed, but that's towards the end. You don't have to wait for that. And I will email you and call you tomorrow. So
Great,
you don't have to wait around all night. How's that?
great, that sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Samantha, you got my email, right?
I did. I'll reply to it tomorrow morning.
Perfect. There's no hurry. I just want to make sure you had it.
Absolutely. Thank you for sending.
Thank you. All right, good night, both of you. Take care. Okay, so our second public hearing is authorizing 3 administrative changes in the zoning code. So what we did in the last meeting is we set the public hearing for tonight. So I'm wondering if there are any comments about the administrative changes in the zoning code that were posted. No? No, I was looking at Elfrida.
Betsy, zoning varies throughout the town. Does anybody know what I'm zoned at now? 10 acres or 5 acres?
I don't know.
Never mind, I'll find it.
Yeah,
I'll come in tomorrow.
We have a map somewhere.
we have a map. It's on the wall.
Okay.
We'll help you with that.
I want to build a castle. I need a lot of sticks.
Yeah. Buy that place next door. All right, so are there no comments about public hearing, during the public hearing for the zoning changes?
Come up with something.
No, I just want to make sure, because you usually do. So,
Yeah.
but we have a resolution, we have a resolution of adoption where we're going to talk about it there. So if you have any questions, okay? Okay, so with that being said, I think that concludes the public hearing for both resolutions and agreements tonight. And at this point, we can move on to the regular agenda. Wait, Ed's not here yet, so that's.
He's in a little conference room.
He's just coming.
He's hiding.
Oh, he is. Okay, so I'm going to take a 2-minute break because we're going to change the order of the meeting. I'll be right back. Excuse me.
And we need copies.
Andrew, no vouchers?
Yeah, they're-
Where are they, in the little room?
John, do you know how to use it? I can't use it.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the regular town board meeting on May 18th. At this point, I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask all of you to join me in saluting the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with the approval of the minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for April 20th and May 4th?
So moved.
Second, thank you, sir. Is there anybody, are all in favor of the approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, terrific. That motion carries. Minutes are approved. Good evening, Ed.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so what we're gonna do, we've got a lot to cover tonight, but we're just gonna switch some things around. Superintendent Kading has he's got a busy evening and a busy morning tomorrow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the superintendent, let him give his report. If our parks manager isn't here, then I may ask you the question he wanted to ask you. And then we'll let you, if you don't mind, let you go on and we'll just continue on and.
I'll wait for Jake.
Okay, all right, that's great. All right, but go ahead and we'll start with the highway superintendent's report and we'll go from there.
Okay, first thing I want to talk about is, obviously, hopefully all the board has a copy of this.
York rate?
purchase.
Yes.
York rate?
Yes.
Okay, the existing rate in the system that we do have, to the best of my knowledge, is at least 20 years old. Because the only way that I know of any kind of record is it was here before Brian started, and Brian's been here 21 years.
Right,
So it's lasting
Yeah.
longer than we would have expected.
Long life. on it.
Yeah. The new rate that I'm proposing that we get, I have three prices for. The one vendor that I reached out to has got the lowest bid. The other two were just close, but and they're all the exact same unit, same brand, same everything. So that's the rate. The other thing that we need to discuss a little bit, as I understand, we're trying to get a new pickup. So having said that, and a new rate, we have some surplus stuff to get rid of. One would be the pickup that we no longer need because we're replacing it, and the other would be the old rake. A couple of other items that I'd like to put in as surplus would be the roofing material and the sheathing that came off the building that was damaged last year. We salvaged all that. There is value to that.
Yeah,
I think we can put that on auction as well. And the other thing that that we do have we just can't use it. When the town purchased the new utility truck in 2018 or 17, it came with a
18.
crane.
yeah, boom, yeah.
The crane is absolutely useless to the town.
Right.
It's designed for pulling pumps out of,
Wells?
well, it's designed for pulling pumps out of sewage systems,
Oh, gosh,
municipal sewage pumps.
Right.
yeah.
We don't have any of those in this town.
Mhm.
The crane is positioned behind the cab of the truck, so when you're lifting something with it, the arm doesn't even extend long enough to swing it in, so you can get something in the back of the truck.
Oh, gosh.
So I'd like to get rid of that as well and try to generate a little bit of income with that thing. We tried to take it back to the dealership with a few discussions with him. One point, he said he'd put it wherever we wanted in the truck. We took the time to take the truck. The truck was purchased in Monticello, so it was quite a ordeal to get there and back. Then after we took it there, he said there's nothing we could do.
Oh, gosh.
We wanted to trade it with him
Good.
for a lift gate on the truck, which would be far more beneficial to the town. And because, his words, because the crane was installed, they wouldn't be able to certify it in a different vehicle. So that needs to be noted on it when we do auction it, that it can't be certified according to him. I didn't really go deep into that. So I'd like to get rid of that as well. A couple of other things. I hope people in the town noticed, we are done with our 2022 resurfacing of asphalt. Finished that last week.
Looks great.
Yeah, very nice.
Looks really nice.
We did Barmore,
Oh, it looks great.
Yeah, good, good.
Clap
Did
Hill.
a nice job.
A Barmore resident.
Yeah. Good. Me too. I hope it didn't turn into a racetrack.
Yeah.
We could put speed bumps in.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's a bump there.
Coming up, we would be doing oil and chip next week, so we're sealing the asphalt that we put down last year. Chauncey Road is on schedule for that, and a few others. We are deep into the catch basin repairs throughout the town. We're patching potholes throughout the town. The other major thing we're into right now is mowing the roadsides.
Yeah,
We started out with 2 tractors this week and we're down to 1. The one that's down was diagnosed minor, and so we're getting that repaired. We do have our 10-wheeler dump truck is down. It's got an EGR cooler that's out of it right now. Waiting for pricing to get that repaired.
to show it.
I think that's pretty much it.
Can I ask you a question? So
2
the
or 3.
roofing material, the rake, the truck and the crane, what'd you say before the roofing material you'd like to surplus? Is there something?
Sheeting.
The
No,
old rate.
what'd you say? Sheathing, okay.
Yeah, the sheeting. That's
Sheeting
part
and
of
the
the
roofing
roofing
material.
material.
Okay.
So the sheeting and the roofing material
Would
and
go
the,
as
and the
one.
crane, we could probably surplus right away because
No,
you're done with them, right?
Right, exactly.
The other 2 items when you get the replacements.
and
Yeah, I just
the
thought if
crane
we
and the
did it
rake.
all at one sale, because if you're showing more than a couple of items, you're showing 4 items, you'll get more activity
Oh,
on the
okay.
site.
All right.
You mean
I
include, but the
Makes
truck you're
sense.
still gonna use till the fall, right?
Yeah, we're gonna use the truck.
So we
until the
won't do
new
that
one
one.
comes in.
Yeah,
we
that
can
has,
surplus that till.
so the rest of them could go.
Again, I think just let them all go as a package.
You want to wait with
Yeah.
till the fall? Okay, so this is
All
the
right.
fall thing. Okay.
Right.
So we'll come back
But
to
that's
that.
good with the board.
Yeah, and well, we've got lots of time to talk about it again. I'm sure it'll be
Yeah.
a good idea, but so
Yeah.
that's good. That, maybe that truck will arrive earlier. You never know.
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, I just want to say Time War Park Road looks so awesome and, you know, it's been needed to be done and we keep putting it at the end because the residence streets are really important, but boy, it looks great. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. I think a lot of people are
Thank
enjoying
you
that.
for approving that.
Yeah,
Then we got all the roads done that we approved. We got all the roads done that we approved.
Yeah.
That good.
Yeah.
I know the material prices were up. That's why I was asking.
yeah.
We actually, I believe, I've got the bill and the voucher here for that. I believe the asphalt, we came in under our budget.
Oh, wow.
We were under,
Very
we were
good.
under on tonnage by like 150 ton of what was estimated. So I think the lay down cost for the asphalt was somewhere around 105 a ton. So that's quite a savings for us. So maybe
Great.
we won't be over budget by doing time off.
Oh,
which
great.
Was our fear. or
Yeah.
mine anyway.
Yeah, that's good.
So, all right.
Okay, well, that's terrific. Anything
Do
else?
we
No?
wanna, no, I think, oh, lastly, as always, when the residents see something with the roads, don't hesitate to call me. Don't always respond promptly, but I do always respond.
Yeah, no.
So I need to know, because
Yeah.
there's only 4 of us and there's 50 miles of road and we don't see every inch of it every day. So let me know.
And with this new phone system, they'll go to 724-5600.
Mhm.
And then I think you're,
Then it rolls over
4.
to myself.
yeah, and then they can
Mhm.
push that second prompt
Yeah.
for emergency or for roadway to submit. It's the second prompt under highway and they'll get you.
Yeah.
Or they can leave you a message.
Can I ask a question about the new phone system?
Yes.
When I get a phone call from here now, it says Millbrook. This isn't Millbrook.
Well, when I get, it says Unionville Town Hall, really?
That's what mine says too.
Although
Millbrook.
Jeff Battistoni was telling me he was having trouble with a different type of trouble, so that we thought we fixed before, so we'll follow up
Could you
with
tell
that.
the program in Unionville and so when the phone rings, I see Unionville, not Millbrook.
You're the first time I've heard
Might
that.
have a phone carrier too.
Yeah, that's the first
Oh,
time
yeah,
I've heard
that's
that.
true. Could
I
be.
only started seeing it when you got the new system.
Well, I see Unionville, but mine says Unionville Town Hall, actually. Must be the way it's programmed somehow.
Might have a program saved in
Yeah.
there that's that.
Yeah,
All right.
but we'll check because we could check on that. And then Jeff gave me 2 other issues that he had that we thought we'd fix. And so we'll follow up on the
Okay.
phone. Okay, now, before you go, and well, you're gonna wait for the Parks report, which,
Patiently waiting.
yeah, I just
He
wanted to
was
say,
here,
before, no, he's here. Jake's here. Jake, you want to come on
there he
up and
is.
join us
Okay.
because, or maybe sit over there because you're gonna be up next. We're reorganizing, so Mr. Kading can get to a meeting. I just wanted to say I'm still dealing with FEMA. And it'll be part of my report. I had to give them more information, but I just wanted to thank you. I don't know what somebody's on. You and Christian, you know who it is? Somebody mute, please. You and Christian Pisano he did outstanding work and you know how it's tedious working with these people. And I think he wrote me one more time today. I thought we were done.
You have far more patience with them than I.
It's amazing. But anyway, we're getting there, but you guys did a great job. And if we get that money back, it's not a huge sum of money, but every little penny counts.
Every bit
So
counts.
thank you. Thanks to Christian.
I'm gonna
Thanks.
give This voucher for
Yeah,
everyone. that-
yeah, we can just, no. Well,
That's the bill, the voucher's under.
great. Okay, well, we'll all sign it tonight. Thank you. Mr. Gosnell, we have rearranged the agenda a little bit so that Mr. Kading can get to a meeting. So we thought maybe you would like to give your parks report, and then while Mr. Kading's here, we can have that discussion about the truck.
Great. Okay, so since last one, if anybody's been out in the park, the back deck out by the back deck out by the dam is fully
Where's
painted.
20.
Not me.
There we go.
Mine says 0.
Okay. So yeah, the back deck by the dam looks really good. I want to thank Vincent for that. He did a very, very nice job on it. It is high mow season. Allergy season has been crazy because of it. all the dandelions and everything else. So we are in high gear trying to keep up with that. Hopefully, hey, hopefully, you know, the rain will calm down a bit as well, and things can mellow out a little bit on that front. If anybody's been down in the park over the past couple of days, all the green on the band shell has been power washed and scraped and is ready for paint. So the green on the band shell and the green on the resident pavilion will be painted soon and start looking really nice. I wanted to remind everybody that June 4th is the horse bowl at the Equestrian Center. I don't remember the time off the top of my head, but there are a bunch of different classes, and the minis will be back this year, which is really awesome. And then I also one of the things I wanted to talk about is Sean, our Eagle Scout, who was in here a couple of months ago with the little free library that he presented, installed that this past Saturday. I met him in the park, and he installed that over by the corner as you walk into the park to go towards the playground. Himself and his team did a really, really nice job. There are no books in it yet. But you know, so if anybody has any books they want to leave and can take a book, leave a book, that's right there on the corner, and they did a really, really great job on that. So
Fantastic.
yeah, things
A
are,
lot of books on the second floor up there.
yeah, lots of books,
Way down.
lots of books. So, but yeah, it's, you know, just busy season.
And we're gonna talk about a proposal and then the truck, or do you want to do the truck first? And then the proposal?
What, however you would like to
Yeah,
do
so
it,
that-
so Ed can head out.
Yeah.
So we put the truck up for auction with Absolute, who've been like really good with us. That's who Ed's talking about using. And the auction closed last night on the F-350, and it closed at $33,500. So I wanted to bring that to you guys and see what you guys thought about
What
it.
did you think you were gonna
I mean, I had hopes that we may get, you know, over 40, but yeah. And, you know, I'm a little bit, you know, I thought maybe we might get more. I thought we might get, you know, over 40,000 just because of the way the market's been with vehicles. But at the same time, I hesitate to not take it because I don't want it to sit for a while and then have more problems come up with it. But, you know,
So the other choice is to relist it and start all over.
relist it and start it over again.
And I don't know the truck, what you guys do. What do you
We
think?
put a reserve on it, we listed, correct?
Didn't you have a reserve on it?
Well, I don't have a reserve on it, but we are a municipality, so we reserve the right to, you know, reject any high bid.
I mean,
If we don't
were saying
deem
about
it.
41 before, so
We were hoping, yeah,
it's 33 now.
33.5.
I think we could do much better putting it back out there.
But if we put a reserve on it a little higher.
Sure.
Are you contracted to Absolute?
I mean, that's who we use, yeah.
Are you contracted?
No.
No,
There's very few diesel trucks out there, so they're in demand. I think we'd do much better waiting a little while. I think we, without a doubt, we'd do better closer to 4, not 40, closer to 4.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get another 5 or 6 out of it,
Yeah, sure.
you know.
sure.
Just don't touch it.
Yeah.
You don't go to it. Don't let the birds get to it. Keep
So,
moving.
Okay, then I'll let him
I
know.
mean, I have no opinion. If you guys like things, good idea, I'm all for it.
I mean, I definitely thought we would, you know, do better than 33.5.
So was it a slow auction for them? Maybe it was an off time because he said it doesn't, is this one of those you just listed it? It wasn't in a real auction? Like there wasn't any traffic? He said you can do one-offs as opposed to having a big auction that brings more attention.
Yeah, I mean, it was a one-off. We didn't have any other, you know, Unionville didn't have anything else in.
What if you consolidated that with ours?
Yeah, I mean,
Because you get a lot more activity
yep.
on the auction sites when you have multiple pieces.
Mhm.
Except your truck, because you still need it.
Why don't you just do it now and add that truck? Then you can do that.
Then you could add the crane and the building materials
Yeah.
and the roof
The
sheet
rake.
and that truck, or the rig. You wait till you get a new one, right? Or do you want to get really old now?
I think we're fine if we do it all now. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Whatever makes the most sense for town. We have, you know, we have the utility and the two little dumps. I think we're fine.
Okay, well,
We
then maybe we should do it all
If it
night.
makes more sense to do it.
Change it.
So-
As a pickup.
Get rid of it now.
get more
Gives you a
attention.
shot to get rid of it now
Do you know what?
and get more attention.
So maybe we
from
could
shops.
talk about what
Yeah,
all those
so-
other items should be valued at.
I agree.
Okay,
I mean, ours is pretty old, pretty rusty, not in the best of shape. So I
but somebody might think they're getting a great deal.
Yeah, it'll make mine look better.
What's
Yeah.
the, no question, that's the highways pickup.
Yeah, it's truck one, it's
Gray one.
2011 Silverado.
Wants to get rid of it now?
Diesel or gas?
Yeah.
Dang, that is
Got the
so-
Duramax diesel.
The new one's in the fall. But he said he could.
Yeah,
use it out of
right.
it.
Yeah.
Crew cab.
I'd say get rid of everything. Okay with it. Put it all up.
Full crew cabs.
So if you're gonna give up that truck
Yeah.
now,
Mhm.
then that would be 2 trucks and all that stuff in one
Yeah.
auction.
When is this rate gonna come in? How long is that gonna take?
Less than a month.
Oh,
Well, we, I mean, we haven't talked about this one
Yeah,
yet,
you
so
guys
let's,
gotta
can we
approve
talk
it.
about that separately? Yeah, but so now we have to declare surplus, or that's your line, John?
Yeah, as long as you guys can operate without it, you know, the highway.
I think we're fine.
So would you like to make that motion? That
All right,
we-
I'll make a motion, we surplus the old York rate, 20+ years old. It's 2011 pickup truck that is done its job. The building materials, roof and roof sheeting that we don't need. The old crane from the truck that we did not use. Put it all on auction, as well as the park trucks that we didn't like the price on. So all those items, I make a motion to surplus effective now.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? All right, work out the values of those things tomorrow and let me know, would you?
Okay,
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay,
you got it.
all right, well, good luck. And yeah, you'll let us know
Sure.
when the end is coming.
So we'll have to schedule so we can come over and take pictures of everything at the highway.
Whatever you want.
All right, you got it.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Mr. Kading. We appreciate it.
Mhm.
We'll get on and you can sit or head on to your next event. Well, that's we have a resolution at the end of the meeting. We've already had that discussion and
Okay.
you're in good shape. I guess you're in the,
The extras for the new pickups.
no, you have to work that out later. You have to get the, all right, I'll
I
let
got
you
you the
two,
pickup,
I'll let
man.
you two exit, so we're gonna get on with this meeting. At this point, I'm gonna have the town supervisors report and then get back to the normal agenda. First off, I wanted to thank the Unionville Fire Department for the Orange Bag campaign. I thought it was a terrific campaign. We had some really nice volunteers from the fire department and residents and town board members and elected officials. It was great. And it was just a lot of fun doing it. The residents really liked seeing the pictures. They liked Facebook and they liked everybody.
I like seeing the roads clean.
And they love seeing the roads. As I say, that was the most important part, but that was a great joint effort. And I really thank Stephen Schmoke, the chief, for always being so enthusiastic about doing that with us. So we really appreciate it. The next thing I wanted to go through was some, I'll do the financials quickly. We've gotten back on track. We had a tough couple of first months because we had a lot of expenses in the highway department for things breaking and all that, which you remember. Now we're back in plus zone. We're 4% over our budgeted revenue number. And we are at 83% of our budgeted expense, which is more the way we like to see it. So things are back on track and doing well. Our cash balances, this is just cash balances now. For the general fund, $2,956,739. Highway fund cash balance is $861,886. That includes $140,724 in the reserve account. So remember that number because we'll talk about that during the resolution section. We did get our first quarterly payment from the sales tax due to municipalities was $49,839. We also have gotten $8,414 in penalties, which for taxes. So people keep paying their taxes all the way up until the end, and which we appreciate. Before it goes to the county, we do get a little bit, and so we're up to 8,400. But things are looking strong. I wanted to go through another good piece of good news for the board. Today, we got a check for $6,973.96 from our insurance company. So we got another check, I mean, in addition to the sales tax.
Yeah,
So this is a return of capital. I don't know if you remember, but a year and a couple of months ago, we got a $3,000 check from them.
yes,
And, Nymer is a pretty incredible company, but when they first got started, it's a membership, it's a not-for-profit. And when they first got started, anybody that was let in had to put up a capital payment, which could have been 40% of their first year's premium. So it was a lot. Well, they're doing so well. Now they have almost 1,000 members. How many do they have listed on here? I was talking to them today. They have almost 1,000 members. They're doing extremely well financially. Everything is very well managed. And so they've decided to return all the previously collected capital to everybody. They're not collecting it from new members anymore.
wow.
That's how strong they are. So I think they're a terrific company. And they're constantly sending safety bulletins and that sort of stuff, which I have to tell you, having never gotten that stuff before with like in workers' comp, when we were with the county, it's really helpful. You send them out to people and some of those things stick in their mind. I wanted to, this under the heading of correspondence, we got Dutchess County Sheriff's Office sent a letter inviting people to, what day is it? May 26th at 9 a.m. at the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office for a remembrance ceremony and tribute to the Sheriff's Office members that gave their lives in the line of duty and those that are no longer with us. So that is, let's see, May 15th is Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which the date falls as Police Week. So that's why they're having that celebration. And Kirk Imperati, our sheriff, would like to invite everybody to join. I have that information and I heard today it's also on their Facebook page, so you can get that. I mentioned this to the town board, but it's important for the residents to know that the Dutchess County Department of Public Works, DPW, is going to be replacing the culvert, the deteriorating culvert, that one that's causing the one lane road on Canby Road. It's Canby Road at the Beaver Brook between Chestnut Ridge and Brush Hill. And that is starting in June. So that means that road's going to be closed for as long as it takes for them to replace that project. They have given themselves way too much time, to be honest with you. They said it's starting in June, anticipated to begin in June. And they said that the road will definitely be reopened by November. I think it's a 3-week job is what a couple of experts have told me. So I'm not sure why they give themselves such a big window, but after a couple of weeks, we'll start teasing them about their time frame and then we'll see what they say. I also wanted to mention that our annual update document was filed with the state. It has, we're really in good shape. I feel like all the books are really well organized and that was done in a short amount of time, which is great, as soon as we close the books. Now, when we went to close the books to turn in the AUD, there were a couple of other transfers that I wanted to take care of in the transfer section of the agenda, because we have a few things left that we want just to make sure everything's perfect for 2021, how everything's closed. And lastly, I would like to say that I wanted to read another piece of correspondence that we got. I think the board members may have seen this already, but I just want to make sure everybody sees or hears it. On April 29th, we received a letter that saying, "Dear Supervisor Moss, I'm writing to follow up with our telephone conversation. Herb Reddle owns vacant real property located at the intersection of North Clove Road and Route 82, consisting of 8.95 acres and identified as tax parcel 856,935. Herb passed away on January 21st, 2022, and his daughters own and manage all of his holdings. We do not have any plans or interests in this parcel and would like to donate the same to the town. Please consult with your town board to see if there is a consensus to accept this parcel of land as a donation from us. If this is acceptable, please let me know. Our present plans are to wait until we have an appraisal completed before doing a deed to the town." So that was a wonderful gesture on behalf of the Reddle family. And the board has had a really a great conversation about how to handle that and what to do. And I thought part of what I've got it on the agenda under new business. So I thought we can wait and discuss it then. And then there's a resolution.
Okay.
But anyway, I wanted to make sure everybody heard about the gift. It's right there at the corner across from Burbank Cemetery. All right. Okay. And I think those are pretty much, I think, the most important updates that I have. The things are moving strongly. We have a new escrow report for the board. We they paid the general fund and closed out any escrow or any applicant that was over 6 months old. And the town board members have been given all their normal cash receipts and the escrow report and the building report, the abstracts, and the town monthly P&L so that you can see where we are versus the budget. So I think everybody's fully informed. And with that, I'd like to finish my report and move on to board members. So I'll start on this side. Councilman McGivney.
Just like to reiterate what Betsy touched on about the orange bag campaign. It was a great project. I'd like to thank the fire department for being involved with it again this year. Thank the board members, past and present, that were there cleaning up. And we did a really good job. The town looks cleaner.
It looks great.
Great project. Looking forward to it next year again.
Yeah, thank you.
That's all I got.
It was nice seeing your son there.
Yes.
Teach him young, I guess, right?
Yep.
Very nice. Councilman Derlin.
I am good at this time. Thank you.
Okay, great. Councilman Welsh.
Okay, I've been heavily involved with the Ortiz contract, reviewing that, working with the supervisor on the building department on MS4 issues, working with the library consultant, and I also participated in the town cleanup day, May 1st, with
Yeah.
the orange bags, so.
Been
lot
busy.
going on. Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Councilman Gusikoff.
So I wanted to report that the shed for the recycling center finally came in for today,
Great.
as expected. We're trying to figure out logistics on where we're gonna get the work done. Needs a lot of upgrades and stuff, so we're trying to figure that out and get the rest of the materials in for that, so that's in the works. I met with the guys down at the recycling center 2 weekends ago to go over their process and figure out how we can make things a little bit more efficient for them, for the people that use it, and get things maybe just a little bit on a better track for that. And they're eager to have some changes take place there. And we had some good conversations. So we're
Yeah.
working on that.
Yeah, they're excited.
yeah, very
And
good.
you already have 2 windows for that
Yes.
booth, don't you?
Yeah. I repurposed 2 windows from a project that I'm doing. So
Oh, thank you.
that'll
That's
be a
great.
savings for us as well. So it's pretty good.
That's great. And we do need to have a bit of a design session down there because, that booth is inching closer to that wall. And it's coming, now when we move the booth and everything gets cleaned up, but there are some things that, we can do to improve it. And we've also had some conversations. I think the guys are both, whatever, they're so excited to get this new booth and everything. And they're very thrilled that they made a profit last year. I have to say, they did a great job and they're happy about that. So they're eager for anything. So this new booth is going to be, it's going to be great.
It'll be
So
a
thank
step in
you.
the right direction.
Yeah, that's great,
Yeah,
Councilman.
very good, Thank you.
Thank you so much. Town clerk.
Thank you. Not too much is new in our department, but I just wanted to put another reminder out there that we're having document shredding day on Wednesday, August 3rd. And we will know a time closer to the date of the event, more than likely not until that week. So we will be posting that on the website as the time approaches. So stay tuned.
Great.
That's all I have.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Any public comments on agenda items? Did you have a question, Alfreda?
Don't forget about those trucks. You had a question earlier, the Optimum truck?
It's not on the agenda. Okay.
No, you were allowed to ask a question now.
Yeah, but go ahead. We can flip things around for you. Go ahead.
I'm not taking my way. There were a series of trucks slowly leapfrogging up Clove Road today. And it said Optimum. The flagger lady had no idea what was going on. She says, my job is to watch traffic. I would like to know what's going on.
So-
Are they working on phone lines, cable lines? Are they pulling up all that loose crap that got chopped up by plows and now by the mowers? I lose track of the wires that are hanging down.
I don't know if people can hear you, but
Are they taking poles now, the remainder?
so
Old poles that still have wires? I don't know. But they were
Central
really-
Hudson, yes, Central Hudson has done a lot of work on poles.
Yes.
And then I don't know if you, in Unionville Mail, and I think we discussed at the last meeting, we've been looking for a contact from Verizon and finally got one who was very responsive. Verizon has been here. They were over on Brusville. You saw them. They were also on Clove Road. Finally, it took them 3 or 4 days on the Brusville area, and then they came to Clove Road.
They were down here in the park Friday, Saturday.
Yep, good, okay, and then they had emailed me and they said, okay, there were 31 poles that needed work, and that includes the wires. 16 of them are Verizon wire problems that we can fix immediately. We have to wait for Optimum to come and do their part, and then we'll come back and fix the others. So Optimum was there today, so they're actually making a lot of progress on the 31 poles that we were complaining about, including all those wires on the ground in the Clove. So I think they're making good progress. I mean, I will wait until, they tell us that they're finished. And then we have a couple of very good former linemen in this town that go around and sleuth on it all and tell us whether or not they've done a good job. So we'll get a report and then we'll call them again if they haven't, but they're working on it. So that's a very good thing. Any other comments?
I think Sue Gilchrist, who's on Zoom, has a comment as well. She emailed me earlier.
I do have a comment, but it's not.
So do you have,
Oh, hang on, we gotta turn the speaker on. If someone wants to just turn this on.
I do have
do you have a comment on agenda items?
I don't, so I can wait to the end if you would prefer.
Yeah, if your name were Mrs. Tillman, we'd let you go, but since it's not. All right, we'll come back. You stick with us. Thank you. All right, so at this point, we will proceed. Board, committee, council reports. I think our first one is the CAC. Why don't I read that since I've listened into their
Yeah.
meeting and that might be easier for me. I'm going to give the Conservation Advisory Council's report. They had their meeting on May 4th. This report is from Lisa Martell, the group's secretary. Spring has sprung and the CSC, which is Climate Smart Committee, has been busy. On Saturday, April 23rd, Habitat for Humanity was once again at the transfer station collecting household goods for their restore. Yard signs promoting No Mow May were also available for sale, and there appears to be lots of support for this campaign. Jen Rubo attended the Dutchess County CAC Roundtable. This event is an opportunity to meet with other CACs in the community and to see where they have been concentrating their efforts in the past year. Work continues on producing an environmental area overlay map. We also have plans to expand the invasive species mapping that was begun last year with the help from New York Partnership for Regional Invasive Species Management, or PRISM. So they have got a lot on their plates, but they're doing a nice job and they're very enthusiastic. So next up, I think we can go to our departmental reports. Councilman Gusikoff, would you like to read the recreation report?
Sure. This is from May 18th, recreation. Traditional camp is officially full of 4 sessions, and there are only 2 spots left for our kids' camp programs for session 1, as well as 2 spots left for our teen leadership camp in session 1. We have been waiting lists for programs, and parents can call the park office to ask to be added. We are actively preparing our summer season and are very excited for those programs to begin. In addition, work on getting the pool ready for our opening day on June 4th has begun, and membership registration is open online. We look forward to enjoying the park with all our campers and the public. While the school year is quickly coming to a close, we still have regular registrations for TGTT and are looking forward to our half-day programs this Friday, May 20th. Children will get to enjoy our playground, equipment, hiking trails, and group crafts and activities. We'll also be running a full-day TGTT for May 27th.
We also have our community night, which is coming up on, when is that, June 24th? That's a Friday night. We're trying to tie it in. We always try to tie it in with the last week of school, last day, so that families can come and tailgate at town hall and have a nice time. So that'll be great. So So anyway, that will start to get advertised. So everybody mark your calendars for June 24th and come to Time More. All right. Councilman Welsh, would you like to read the library services?
Yes. Okay, this is from Laura Sumner,
Yep.
dated Wednesday, May 18th. Interim library service is status quo. This Saturday, May 14th, 2-hour roundtable with library consultant Alex Cohen of Aaron Cohen Associates was well attended with 24 residents participating. Now, Mr. Cohen has enough information to draw up a report summarizing his findings from all the resident meetings thus far. The report should be ready in about 2 weeks.
Great. Thank you very much. Councilman Derlin, would you like to read the animal control report from?
Sure.
Oh. Go ahead.
Good.
Yep, thank you.
During the month of April, there were no lost dogs, 3 found dogs, 1 complaint regarding dogs running at large, which has gone to court. Residents should be aware that even though Unionville is a rural town, dogs running at large, not under the control of their owner, are in conflict with our town code chapter 92, article 92-2. Respectfully submitted, Mary Jean Calvi.
So before we go to the next report, since you're still here, you were a part of it kind of dovetails with this. Part of your report had to do with the proposal that you and I met with somebody about. You want to
Yeah.
explain that?
Yeah, so Betsy and I met with
Alana Nielsen?
Alana Nielsen, sorry, thank you. I was totally blanking on her name. One afternoon a couple of weeks ago, and she brought up the idea of a dog park. She had thought maybe back here on the hill where we have, varying terrain and whatnot. She had the idea of maybe making an acre or 2 big, and just threw that idea out there to see, what everybody thinks, what the community thinks, and where we may go with that. So, we kind of thought we'd bring that to the board.
And I think the conversation was really to fence in an area back behind Town Hall.
Yep.
That would, on the side of the street where dogs are allowed, over
Yes.
here of Duncan Road, and just fence it in and have a couple of gates and let dogs, so they can run off leash in there. There would be, people that have to sign disclaimers and all this stuff. And so I think that initially what we had said to her was what we should talk to and have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
So the first person I had a discussion with since it was before this meeting, was Mary Jean Calvi, our animal control officer. She is going to come. She had 2 new foals born today, so she's very busy with the new foals at her house. But she's going to come to the next town board meeting to go ahead and flesh it out a little bit more, if you like. On our first initial discussion, she was very much opposed to it. I'll be honest with you. She can spend more time thinking about it and doing some homework, but she said she really has, as a vet tech, she said there are just too many issues, in her opinion, where people, dogs come into offices, they get sick because they don't know who's got the right shots and things, and interacting with other dogs. So she doesn't think it's worth it because of all the diseases and illnesses that dogs pick up. But she said she is going to continue to think about it, and she's going to come in next month and we'll have a discussion about it. So if you want to do some homework on it and think about it between now and then, and we'll have we'll put it on the agenda for next month to discuss. Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you got it.
All right. All right, last department report would be for the constables. Councilman McGivney, can you share that one with us? Thank you.
Constables monthly report for March 2022. Constables patrolled approximately 673 miles of town roads, including all properties, filling the Explorer with 39.8 gallons of gasoline. The 3 town court dates totaled 57 cases on dockets with 38 actual appearances, and 7 cases were dismissed for failure to prosecute. Officer did not show, and there were no issues to report. Constables reported the following during patrols. April 26th, served a violation to a homeowner for the building department. April 27th, issued a dog owner a violation for dogs at large. Respectfully submitted, George Treadwell.
I'd like to mention even though Cameron read it correctly, but the subject is April this year. He apparently didn't change
Look at
the
that.
line to March, but it was April.
I think he has a standard.
So he's up to date.
He is up to date. That's great. Thank you, Councilman, for that. Now we can go into the old business section. Item number 1 in that section is our land use moratorium, sorry, to review town center, the zone, and private roads and common driveways. So we're in the middle of that moratorium, and we've had conversations and reviewing every section of the TC code while looking at the parcel access map, and the conversations have been excellent. A lot of good points have been made. So I think that so far, if I could sum it up in one word, it would be, the goal would be simplify. So I think that's where it's headed. So, and you've been on that
Yeah,
last call we had,
same word, having listened to all the discussions so far.
So we stay tuned. We're going to try to get a package together. There's more conversations that have to be had, along with Jim Nelson, our land use attorney, and Dan Salzberg, the planner, and it's still taking shape, but I think people are going to be really pleased with it.
Yeah.
So, all right, next up is library consultant. So Alex Cohen, so basically with Alex Cohen, he's in the middle of preparing a preliminary document for us that will be delivered soon, as Laura Sumner mentioned in her report. He said that basically he decided, after looking at the surveys, he said the surveys he won't be able to use, because he said it did turn out that there were repeats, a very large number of repeats in the surveys, thereby making it, he said, ethically challenged. So he didn't feel comfortable using it because it was obvious that it would be heavily weighted in a certain way, which he didn't explain to me, but he said it was clear. So he felt like he might be able to pull out some nuggets of information from the surveys, but he's not going to be able to include it like he usually does in a report. He said, though, that he did get a lot of emails from those surveys that people submitted, and he used those emails to invite people to the Zoom calls, and he thought those were very helpful. And we now have had 2 large group meetings, very little overlap, but he was very pleased with those. And he said that report will be delivered soon. And then there will be another meeting, and we tentatively scheduled, I wanted to discuss it with you to make sure the schedule would work for you. It would be on Thursday, June 2nd at 6 p.m., assuming that there's rental space down there, or that nobody's renting the space and we can use the senior center or one of the rooms. And if not, maybe we could use this one. And he said, we're going to have pizza. We're going to get everybody in, and we're going to talk through what he calls the next priorities. So that would mean that between now and June 2nd, we should have a document that we can look at. And then this follow-up meeting will be to really list a group of priorities. So he's got a plan. So if you mark June 2nd down, I think, just to ask you, he also asked if another Saturday morning would be better than a 6 p.m. evening, but I think I kind of went for the evening because I was thinking that people are now really busy on Saturday mornings, right?
Yeah, a lot of stuff's happening
On the weekends. The weather's too nice. So I think an evening would be best. Helga, will you come at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday or Thursday evening? Is that too?
Yeah.
You could come, right? Bonnie, you,
So
so people.
till after 8, well after 8.
Yeah, so I think it's early enough. Okay, so I'll tell them that it looks like that good, and we can advertise that. Lastly, I wanted to talk about our capital projects list is under old business. Now I'm going to ask you should bring this with you to every meeting, because I think we're going to be talking about capital projects at every meeting, specifically the next one. The shaded areas are the ones that we're currently working on. Now, I mention it because, this, we got the playground at Godfrey Park on the list because of a grant that was advertised, and we jumped on the grant and submitted it, which is great. We had it on the list for a rough estimate. And so now we've got the 2 trucks, the attendance booth, the new roof at Timor Park Road, and the playground at Godfrey Park, all in the works. I wanted to fine tune this a little bit. I think every week, every month when we're together, we should talk about it because what I want to, between now and then, what we really have to work, the next month, I mean, between now and then, we need to start working on pricing. Now, the good news is that Ed has gotten 3 quotes and then we can go on state bid to look to see if any of these might be on there, but we should check on state bid. But now we can get into a real serious phase of trying to get some quotes on some of these items, like the garage windows. They're asking for this boom mower. The rake is already on here. The air conditioning condensers for this area. Jake is working on new quotes. We have we have a group of things here, but I think we've gotten some from highway that are really in need. And we've got the playground at Godfrey. I think we can't do anything there until we hear about the grant. We've got 2 pickup trucks on order, one of which will be paid for out of a highway reserve fund, which is cash and ready to be used. And then the parks, this relisting of that truck may be enough to pay for the new one. If not, we would use general fund. So I think the attendance booth is in the works, as you heard from Councilman Gusikoff. And I know the garage, what I'd like us to focus on are the, and you guys have some good ideas about this. Obviously, you're experts at a lot of this stuff, but anything that's energy efficient for the winter, anything that will help, save money going forward, or that's just so old that we have to deal with it. Like the town culverts, they have to be dealt with. We're waiting to hear about we're doing research on a second potential grant. But that has to be dealt with. So that's kind of in its own category because that's
something we gotta do.
That's a safety. We don't have any choice. Furnace Pond Dam, we're going to start looking at the water levels again, and then we'll pay attention to that, but that's a little bit out of our hands, and we use guidance from the engineer. But some of these others, like the garage windows for highway, I mentioned that again because I do think that's it's just like a sieve in the wintertime. The insulation that the Parks Department put in a couple of years ago, remember that actually helps that place. But other than that, those windows are pretty porous. So I think that's important for future billing. The boom mower, they wanted to start that. They'd like to get that for the summer, of course, if it's possible. So some of these are future items, like see the one at the bottom, number 18. That code enforcement constable vehicle, that's not ready to be, that's just something we need to be thinking that we have to prepare for.
Yeah.
Parks is looking for the smaller mower, and the gutters on the long barn. I think a lot of people, just to try to funnel that water better. But I think what we need to do is prioritize this list and what we think. We can put the culverts in one category, the dam is in its own category, but then I think if we take these, we have to take these down. Oh, that number stayed the same. No, it didn't. Okay. So, but we've got a few things in the works. I'd like to get maybe word about the playground at Godfrey so we know how much money we've gotten. And then
when do we hear on that grant? When do they announce?
They have it over, it could be 2 months.
Oh, that
could be sooner.
Wow.
But they wrote up in there and said it could be 2 months.
Okay.
But they might, I don't know, it depends on how many people responded. But so for the next meeting, could you guys take a look at this, bring it with you? We'll have another one handy. If you don't bring it, not a big deal, but if we could focus on the next couple of projects that we tee up, because it takes us a while to get quotes. I'm going to work with Jake. We're going to be pushing on the air conditioning anyway, because that's been a problem for months. And
well, I've been asking for windows at the highway garage for years. Those
nice
windows
new casement windows that they
the
have would be
30s.
great. Yeah, but the new ones that look like it are really nice.
Yeah.
So we can get, so I think maybe we can, between now and then, why don't we work on quotes on those 2 things?
Yeah, because the way
And then,
heating oil is going.
yeah,
So on that grant for the playground,
yeah.
does that need to be used by a certain amount of time? Because if we haven't gotten anything going yet, it's not going to be for the summer. It's going to be into next season. Do you
Who
have
knows
to
if
have
we'll get the
things?
check before then even?
What's
No,
that?
Who
well,
knows how soon they'll even give us a check?
Oh.
it's a reimbursement thing. So,
Oh, it's a
it's a
reimbursement.
yeah. So as soon as
Okay.
we get word that we've got it, we can
Oh,
jump.
okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I get it.
That
Yeah,
changes
so we'll
things.
be fine. So, okay, so we'll get quotes on these two things. And then come back, let's talk about how to prioritize these things that are all really important.
Yeah,
And requested by department heads and by board members, but, air conditioning and direction, and then we can just take it that way. Hit the highest priority items first, okay?
No, the air conditioning, is that just the air conditioning or is that the heating system too?
No, it's the air conditioning, the handlers.
So it's just the air side stuff?
Yeah.
yeah, the cooling part.
We did the heat already.
Yeah, the gas furnace is what, 3 years old, 4 years old?
Is it that old? I thought it was, God, time flies. I thought it was new. Then we got the water heater. Okay. I'm trying to remember what else we were going to work on, but I think that's good for I think it's just really important to get those. And we'll check on the rake. We'll check on those quotes as well.
What's wrong with the quotes, Edgar?
No, we just want to check and see if they're on mistake bid, and they might be,
Oh,
but just in case.
okay.
We always double check. Okay, all right, new business. So under new business, I think a couple of important things here. One is when we got word that we were going to be offered the land by Herb Reynolds' estate,
Mhm.
I thought our conversation was great about that. You know, everybody thought the same thing. One, the taxes that the land produced last year, it was $800, $900. It wasn't much because there's so much water on the land.
Yeah,
And I wanted to, and everybody mentioned, and Ed Kading, when I asked him, I mean, everybody has talked about the dangerous corner when you go left on North Clove to south on Route 82.
Mhm.
So our first thought was, wow, this would be terrific because as a town, we could give up whatever land they needed to refine that corner.
sure.
So I did, based on all the really good comments that you guys made, I did call Bob Balkind, Commissioner of DPW for the county. And there's a resolution specifying a couple of things. He was ecstatic because he too doesn't like that corner. But the state just spent a lot of money on that bridge.
Mhm.
So no, everybody's kind of hesitant because the state spent a lot of money, but now.
But that only was to increase water volume under it.
Right.
It wasn't to do anything about safety of the intersection.
Right. That's the point. Yeah, you're exactly right. But he said it's hard to go back. But what he said was if it's okay with us, he is going to approach the state since it's their jurisdiction on 82. And he's going to ask the state if he can just work with us on it. And then he'll share with them the information and all of that. And he wants to put it in his budget for next year, the latest the year after.
Oh, wow.
So what he said was that what he said was, and after I'd had this conversation with him, which led to the resolution, but what he said was that he thinks it's a fabulous idea because everybody knows about the corner and there's a couple of different ways we could go. And one was to make sure we integrated on the green properly. But as long as he goes, listen, we'll come up with a few designs with our engineer and I will come up with a few designs and I'll come sit with the town board and we'll go through the designs and then I'll be able to tell you approximately how much land we need. And the design can be picked. So I think it's a great opportunity. They're very excited about the safety aspect of it.
Good, yeah.
And in addition to that, Jeff Battistoni is working with Frank Rettel to double check that he'll work on the deed and he'll work on the behind the scenes stuff. George Kolb is going to write up a report on the property. He's doing just looking through the whole file on the history of it. He's going to go walk it tomorrow and see what's there. And then he'll give us a report so we'll know what's there.
Okay.
So, but it looks like a win-win for everybody especially from a safety perspective.
Sure.
So, yep. All right. So that was that. I just want to update you on those conversations. I'd also really I'm going to just say this out loud and then we can put it on Unionville Mail. We really would like to establish a playground committee for Godfrey playground design, because I think it would be nice if at least a few parents, we got wonderful letters of support and I'm going to forward them to you. Actually, I forgot to do that. Wonderful letters of support from a lot of neighbors and friends of Godfrey Park. And I think it'd be terrific if whoever the parents are down there, and we met a lot of them in this process. If a few of you wouldn't mind raising your hand to help work with the designer. Councilman Gusikoff has a friend who already came to look at it, and I met with him last Friday morning at 7 a.m. He was meeting, and he had some great ideas. He can price. He's actually going to, I think, this week send us some ideas. There was another company. There are two other companies we contacted to get enough information in order to prepare a grant. So we have a lot of ideas and some information. I think it'd be great if the people that are actually going to use it would sit down and cull through the information. And then once we know the dollar amount, they can help pick the pieces and all that stuff. And, but I like Councilman Gusikoff's company or friend, is somebody that you happen to know. His company, like the others, they all have a designer that'll design the whole thing and help save you money. So we have a couple of choices there, but the parents need to, maybe, come in and say, this is what they'd like us to do. So anyway, calling any parent that wants to be on a playground committee, please contact Town Hall. We'd love to talk to you.
I'll tell you, I checked out that surface for the playgrounds.
Yes.
It's like a poured rubber. It's unbelievable. I mean, what they have now with the sand and all the issues and the maintenance going that direction. He said that's pretty, I mean, there's other ways to go about it, but that's somewhat affordable. And it holds up. So that's
They also have
something to consider.
the other fellow that I met with at 7 in the morning. He had turf. And he said that we could do a combination with the rubber and the turf. The reason is that rubber is a lot more expensive than just this turf. So he was saying, maybe you do one under this area and then you do one over there. But the surfaces, he had all of them laid out.
Yeah.
They're amazing at what they're doing nowadays. He had a square. He said he has a very small backyard. He lives way out on Long Island. He has a square like this that he laid out there. It looked like real grass, but it's porous. So he says he keeps it in his yard because and then he hoses it off on the dog when the dog goes. Yeah, really?
Yeah.
It's amazing though. It was like not perfect, kind of like most people's yards, lawns. It's great. So I think the parents will really enjoy this. So it's fascinating. The technology has changed so much. And thank you for that reference, by the way. He was
Just for the record, he's not a friend. I don't know him.
Oh, it's his boss?
He did work for a friend of mine that built a lot of playgrounds in Manhattan. So he would utilize his services. So I never met him personally myself.
Nice fellow.
But he seemed very eager to help.
Wow, that's great.
And give some advice. So that was good.
Yeah. So it's a whole new world out there. Next up on new business is Hudson Valley Animal Rescue and Sanctuary. Now, this is an important agreement that we really have to sign. We've already gotten a warning letter from Ag and Markets because the municipal law requires us to have a dog kennel. And when Dutchess County SPCA threw us out, along with a lot of other towns, because we were never going to use them to be, they wanted to be not only our kennel, but the animal control officer. We obviously we're not interested in that because that place is in Hyde Park. And doesn't exactly make people feel warm and fuzzy when the area that they keep them in is constantly failing Ag and Markets. Their reviews, the reports haven't been good. So, but they wanted to be our animal control officer, which we knew right away wasn't going to work. So Mary Calvi does a great job with that. So, but if we were keeping Mary Calvi, anybody that was keeping their own was told they couldn't use the kennel, and we have to have a kennel under New York state law. There is another place. I sent all of you the agreement, and this dog control housing agreement by the Hudson Valley, they go by like it's HVARS. By them is pretty straightforward. They're cheaper than Dutchess County's SPCA. So we thought what we would do, first of all, we're thinking ahead. We put in the budget this year, the ability to build kind of like the attendance booth, to build a dog kennel locally, but that would meet all the required specs with heat and all of that. And so we met last week with Ed Kading, Mary Calvi, Councilman Welsh, and I all got together, and we we found a good location near the highway garage, hidden, and we could get everything we need. We may not have to do that yet, but we have a place. We have the ability to buy it. It's in the budget. We could start building it. We know the specs. We got the specs from the state. We're all set. We're ready to go. But we have this ability to work with this organization that's kind of new,
Mhm.
but like the town of Washington is working with them too.
Oh,
Other,
good.
other towns are, if they don't have a shelter right near their, yeah, we're not gonna drive to Pine Plains, for example. So this would help us a lot. And we have to have an agreement signed, or I'm gonna get another warning letter. I
Sure.
called the lady and said, we're in the works,
Yeah.
don't worry. But we don't want another warning letter from Ag and Markets. So anyway, that's on the agenda for tonight under resolutions. And then we're gonna talk about final budget transfers, but I think usually we do that at the end. So why don't we walk through our resolutions?
Sure.
And then we can follow this track, and then we'll go through budget adjustments. And then we'll talk to Sue Kilcrease and anybody else. All right, our first resolution, 25.
Moving the purchase of a new truck.
Yes, I'm gonna go this. Councilman Gussakoff, do you mind offering that resolution?
Sure. Resolution number 25-2022, resolution approving purchase of a new truck for the highway department using highway reserve funds. Whereas the town of Unionville Highway Department needs a new pickup truck, and a highway superintendent educating would like to purchase a 2022 Chevy Silverado using the state bid process. And whereas the highway superintendent has obtained a quote from a dealer using a New York State Office of General Services centralized contract and expects delivery in the fall of 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of Unionville hereby ratifies in previous motion accepting the dealer's quote for the Chevy Silverado, and hereby and authorizes the town supervisor to transfer the full cost, approximately $42,000 plus minus fees, and may be charged upon delivery from the Highway Reserve Fund into the highway account to cover the purchase.
Thank you for that. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Derland,
Aye.
Councilman Gussakoff,
Aye.
Councilman McGivney,
Aye.
Councilman Welsh,
Aye.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye. Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. Resolution number 25 of 2022 passes. We'll move on to resolution number 26. Councilman Welsh, would you like to read that one?
Sure. Resolution approving purchases for concession stand in excess of current amount of procurement policy. Whereas the concession stand, which opens every summer at Time Warner Park to provide lunches and snacks for the general public and the campers in the summer camp program, is managed by an experienced food service provider, Lori Smalley, who consistently shops for value to provide good menu choices at a reasonable cost to the town and the customers. Whereas procurement policy permits purchases using the discretion of the purchaser as approved by the supervisor before the purchase up to $999, and purchases in excess of $1,000 to $2,999 require two verbal quotations. Whereas given food inflation in the United States accelerated for the 11th straight month to 9.4% in April of 2022, the highest reading since April of 1981, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and Mrs. Smalley needs to shop in bulk when she sees advantageous prices for concession stand purchases. Some relief from the current policy dollar amounts will enable savings and efficiencies. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville does hereby permit for the summer of 2022 an increase in the procurement amount from $999 to $2,000, so Mrs. Smalley may use her discretion to make purchases as approved by the supervisor without getting two verbal quotes.
Thank you for offering that resolution. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Derland,
Aye.
Councilman Gussakoff,
Aye.
Councilman McGivney,
Aye.
Councilman Welsh,
Aye.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye. All right, resolution 26 carries. Thank you. Councilman McGivney, this is up your bailiwick. Can you offer resolution number 27?
Board Resolution number 27 of 2022. Resolution accepting the franchise renewal agreement offered by Cablevision System Dutchess County Corporation, AKA Altice USA. Whereas the town of Unionville has been presented with a 10-year franchise renewal agreement for Cablevision Systems Dutchess County Corporation with an effective date beginning when the New York State Public Service Commission grants a certificate of confirmation. Whereas this new agreement offers the town similar financial arrangements on services purchased at PEG grant in the amount of $17,000, subject to the final approval by Altice USA management, free cable services and free boxes for all municipal buildings, including a future library at Time Warner Park. Whereas the town of Unionville, the town board, and the attorneys have reviewed this agreement and made comments and accepted the final draft, a copy which is on file with the town clerk. Now therefore be resolved that the town board, the town of Unionville does hereby accept the franchise renewal agreement between the town and Cablevision Systems Dutchess Corporation and authorizes the town supervisor to execute this agreement.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. May I have a roll call? Oh, sorry, any discussion? I think we covered it pretty well. Okay. Used to be cable business, or cell tower. You were in the cell tower business. That's what I thought it was. Okay. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Durland.
Aye.
Councilman Gusikoff.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney. Councilman Welsh.
Aye.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye. Okay,
Oh, good for
resolution
another 10 years
27. Yeah. Phew. I hope they're,
Goes fast.
I hope their fees stop here and they've hit the floor, because we started at 15,000. Now we're down to 13,800 because a lot of people are streaming.
Well, we got that $17,000 grant though.
That
That's
was a really nice.
nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, no, nothing to sneeze. That was a very nice thing that they added in. So, all right, we're at resolution 28. Councilman Durland.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Resolution 28, 2022.
Resolution requesting Dutchess County DPW to coordinate new design for turning onto Route 82 from North Clove Road. Whereas on April 29th, 2022, the town of Unionville was notified that the estate of Herb Reddle, owned and managed by Mr. Reddle's daughters, was generously donating a parcel of land located at the corner of Route 82 and North Clove Roads to the town of Unionville. Whereas the town board of the town of Unionville, individually and in discussions with Mr. Frank Reddle, recognized this as an opportunity to improve the ease of turning from North Clove Road onto Route 82 going south. Whereas, given the New York State Department of Transportation has jurisdiction of Route 82 and Dutchess County has jurisdiction over North Clove Road, it is advantageous for Unionville to work with Dutchess County DPW to determine how much land might be given up to achieve the desired goal of an improved road for our drivers. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville will request that Dutchess County DPW create multiple engineering designs for the intersection, which include all three roads, On the Green, North Clove, and Route 82, for the town board to choose from. It is expected that the chosen design will be consistent with and adhere to the rural look and feel of Burbank area.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to ask for a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Durland.
Aye.
Councilman Gusikoff.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney.
Aye.
Councilman Welsh.
Aye.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye. Excellent. Okay, now, that's a good one to pass. What I'll do with that resolution is put it into a letter
Bob Alcon.
to Bob Alcon with all of our, letterhead with everybody's name on it,
Good.
and send it to him and say, this is what we'd like to have happen, and he'll have it in writing,
Very
which will be
nice.
great. So thank you, gentlemen. That's a good thing for us. All right. I think we're at this point. I'd like to move that we adopt the agreement with Hudson Valley Animal Rescue and Sanctuary because of the necessity. And also within that motion, I'd like to request that the supervisor be authorized to sign that document tomorrow and send it back to them. Is there a second for that?
Yeah, I'll second.
All right. All in favor of
Aye.
that motion?
Aye.
Great. Any opposed? None? Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, we'll
Dogs
take
will
you.
like it.
The dogs like it. And then we're Andrea, the town clerk, and Mary Jean Calvi and I are going to go over there and meet them and say hello and just check it out. Mary Jean is going to be dealing with them, but
She must know them already, right?
she does know them. Jeff Battistoni knows them,
Oh, good.
the head. So I mean, we hear good things from two people we
I'm
trust.
sure they're gonna
So
be better than the SPCA.
Oh, yeah, that was not good for, I mean, that's why we never
Yeah.
used them, and
Right.
it was too far away, and
It's nice we have a good alternative.
and it's nice that if we'll move towards building that back up, then nobody will have to go out of town. I mean, really, unless, this is a wonderful relationship, people don't mind. So good to have options. Thank you. At this point, we'd like to go to our local law. Now, I just want to make sure this is clear to everybody. We had the public hearing, there weren't any comments. In our last work session, and I think in the meeting before that, I just want to make sure it's clear, everybody, what we're changing about the zoning code. This has nothing to do with the moratoria per se and the town center changes or the recommendations for that. This has to do with little things that our land use attorney, Jim Nelson, and I discovered as we were going through this process. And so we started, I compared notes with the planning board chair. And so one of the things was that the town board really shouldn't have to request a report from the planning board when we want to make changes. What it is we should ask them for what their opinion is. And in our town, because we all work so well together, the only time we're making changes to the town center, for example, is because the planning board has already come to us. But there were other little things in here too. For example, if we ask the planning board for a report on something that we'd like to consider, because perhaps maybe a resident came to you and you said, oh, I agree, this is really something I want to talk to the board about. And then if we're going through a process, we thought it was silly to have the planning board get 45 days to give us their report, but the county has 30. So basically, we eliminated that. So that the time frame, if we request a report from the planning board, they'll have the same time frame as the county, and that way, if you're on a tight time schedule, it all works. So that was one of the things. Now, I don't know if you did what I do. I go back and look at the code and looked at all the pieces of the code and read the parts that we were changing in the code, and it was pretty straightforward. With the things like moratoria, what we found in here that our code required seeker. And it's the environmental review. An environmental review is not required for moratoria. So we took that out.
Yeah.
And it's consistent with the removal of 239L, which is something which we don't have to refer administrative things to Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development. But we do, we have to send them the big stuff. So all of those things were stricken. And in this exhibit on the back of resolution, this exhibit, what you see, and I think everybody knows this, but just to make sure, because I ask questions like this all the time, where you see the 4 dots, all the language behind that, it stays the same. So if the town board procedures, everything in the town, if there's 4 dots there, all of that stays the same. So I know you probably know all this, but I think if the public's reading, and this was up on the website, under C1, which is under 21083, there's 4 dots. Everything in the second paragraph remains the same, and in 21084 it remains the same. So you can see what the changes are. We previously had been given the red line version, which showed everything that was stricken. And then if you go back and you compare it with what's here, it's like, okay, those are little things, but they're important. Like, why would our code tell us we had to do seeker for moratoria when it's not required in New York State at all? So we cleaned it up. And as Councilman Derlin mentioned, like 2 or 3 meetings ago, that it was redundant for us to do some of the things with the planning board when they were coming to us to ask us to do things for them, for us then to turn around and ask them to do all this work.
Sure was.
So it made sense. So we had the resolution of introduction. We've had the public hearing. There weren't many comments. I think what we've gone through since it's taken a few meetings is pretty straightforward.
Definitely, yeah.
So if everybody agrees, I think, well, I guess we'll have a discussion after, but so we can get there. Councilman Derlin, would you mind reading the resolution of adoption for local law number 3?
Sure can. A local law, resolution of adoption, a local law amending zoning code article 11, a whole bunch of stuff regarding zoning law changes, planning board reports, and the environmental review of moratoria. Whereas a local law was introduced by the town board of the town of Unionville as local law number 3, 2022, entitled a local law of the town of Unionville, Dutchess County, New York, amending zoning code article 11, paragraph 210-81, 210-83, A, B, and C, 210-84 B and C, 210-85 regarding zoning law changes, planning board reports, and the environmental review of moratoria. And whereas a copy of the proposed local law number 3 is attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein, and the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said local law and directs that said local law be spread across the record as if it in fact had been read verbatim. Whereas a public hearing in relation to said local law was held on May 18th, 2022 at 7 p.m. prevailing time. And whereas notice of said public hearing was given pursuant to the terms and provisions of the municipal home rule law of the state of New York, and whereas said local law has been on the desk of the members of the town board of the town of Unionville for at least 7 days, exclusive of Sunday. And whereas it has previously been determined that the adoption of this moratorium local law is a type 2 action requiring no environmental review. Now therefore be it resolved that the annex local law be and the same is hereby enacted. Town of Unionville local law number 3 of 22, entitled the local law of the town of Unionville, Dutchess County, New York, amending zoning code article 11-210-81. I think I went over this a few times regarding zoning law changes, planning board reports, and the environmental review of moratoria. And be it further resolved that this local law shall be referred to as 210-81, 83, 84, and 85 of the town of Unionville Town Code. And be it further resolved that this local law shall take effect upon adoption by the town board and the filing with the New York State Secretary of State in accordance with applicable provisions of law, and specifically Article 3, paragraph 27 of the municipal home rule law.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilman. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
I have a question. In the back of the actual article, section 21083, section B, and then section 2. The language there where it says if the town board requests, the planning board shall make inquiries, provided recommendations regarding proposed amendments, supplements, changes, or modifications concerning the matters specified below. I don't really like if the town board requests. I would prefer to have that the planning board does make recommendations on what was handed back from the county. You know, I think that's probably their place to read that and see if it conflicts with anything. So I don't know if I would like to strike that if the town board requests.
Well, I think that was the first reason that we wanted to make the change, was because we took everything else from 21083 and moved in B, and then moved it over, and then took it that it was required to the town board requests. For the reason that we said already, which was that when these changes are typically made, it's because the planning board has already requested it of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to turn around and ask them. And usually, like for example, the moratorium, it's an administrative thing to set up a moratorium. Does it make sense for a town board, because most towns don't do it, to go and say, ask the planning board for a 45-day report on whether or not we should engage or have a moratorium if the planning board has already come to us saying, look, we need some help with the town center zone and we need a moratorium so that we can stop and analyze. So that's what started this whole conversation, along with the other tweaks. So I think we were all in agreement that if the town board requests it, then it should be required, but otherwise we're doing it because we already have been asked, it's been asked by them, or even the zoning board.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we originally did it to lessen it from 45 days to 30 days to match the county's review process. The way I'm looking at it, we make changes, we send it to the county, they approve it. I think our planning board should also we work with the planning board, but I think that we should be getting their input too. As we change law or go to change a law, I think the planning board should be given input on it. And that's just the way I feel.
We've discussed it a couple times now, though. Does anybody else have any other comments?
I think we kind of work together anyway with the planning board, which we should be in conjunction with one another.
Yeah.
We should be, but it doesn't mean we have to. The way this is written, the town board could change what they want and the planning board won't have any input. That's the way I'm reading it anyway.
I think that because we work together with them all the time, I think the assumption is Legally, I mean, typically, most town boards can make changes anyway. I mean, that's. the way
Unilaterally,
it
I think
works.
the town board can,
Yeah,
without
Yeah,
the
I will.
planning board.
they can
Can
legally, but
override.
why,
the
we
planning
don't.
board Anyway.
Yeah, and they come to us when they need something, so.
Yeah,
we're
but
not-
I think the planning board should be also given input of what we're changing, if it works for them or if it works in the zone.
Well, we discussed this wording at the work session, we discussed it at the previous meeting, and I think everybody felt comfortable with it because we know how we all work together and we know what the law says, we could do it anyway, so. Is there any further discussion?
No.
No.
Yeah, I think we're pretty well set, but with that, I'd like a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Derland.
Aye.
Councilman Dusikoff.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney.
Aye.
Councilman Welsh.
Aye.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye. Okay. I understand what you're saying, Councilman McGivney. I just think that I think all of us have done a lot of work with the planning board and it works really well. And this also will continue to work well. It just takes the things out.
I feel the planning board should be reviewing what we're doing.
They will be. They will be. They will be, especially, but they don't have to if we don't request them to.
It says at the town board request, so.
Right, but that's, well, I think when you, as you're here a little bit longer and you see how well we work with them, that it works that way naturally.
What about the next town board? I think if the next town board, if there was
Such a problem, the town board would act unilaterally anyway.
But the planning board would have no input.
That legally they don't anyway.
Technically, they don't have to have input.
Mhm.
They'll end up just coming before here like I used to do when I was on the planning board.
And talking to the
Just try
residents.
to
Yeah.
talk to the town board and give my opinion then without
without a formal.
I think it's just
Without a
giving,
formal.
it's giving too much power to the planning, to the town board.
The town board already has that power.
That's just my feeling. It's just my feeling.
Okay,
You're
so
not-
we're hearing, so
You're not involving the planning board, you're changing rules or zoning and you're not involving the planning board to say, hey, does this work? We're just unilaterally changing it. I mean, that's my.
I don't think realistically that you understand how it really works here, because it doesn't work like that. We work really closely together.
But, well,
So, and the town board makes the choices anyway, so, and they get to legally make that decision with or without the planning board on most things. So I think it's great. I think it'll work. The planning board's fine with it. The planning board knows how much we work together. And I think after a while, when you, or, maybe one day you might want to serve on the planning board and you'll see it works really well. And I don't think we'll have a problem. It's a small town and we, I don't know, we talk to them all the time with every application, but thank you for your input. And I think at this point, I'd like to go to, one more, we have to go through the budget adjustments. Excuse me, so here's what, doing the AUD, these are the ones that, here. No, I think I have, no, 1, 2, 3, no, I must have one in here, hold on. So, no, you have to read it, because we have to vote, oh, yeah. Okay, I might have to grab it from you, but let's see.
I'll listen. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, if I have any more in here, no, I don't. All right, so you can look at this if you'd like. This is shows you what we're referring to. Want to pass those down? I think those are all. All right, so basically, these are things that we discovered. For example, we did receive a $4,000 amount for recreation, our first recreation fee in a while. And so we need to actually vote to move that from the planning board to the general fund. And that kind of starts a new question. Like, I think one of the issues, I remember when I first got here, one of the issues that had happened was that all of the money had been commingled first at a credit union, and then they commingled everything into one
Yeah,
account.
unfortunately.
And when we went back and tried to rebuild where all that money was supposed to be, we couldn't tell. And the recreation money, I had been told that there was a nice, healthy sum that's, kind of a subjective
built up for
term.
years, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how much that meant, but it was nowhere to be found. I mean, there were no records of it. It was all meshed in. I think the previous bookkeeper put it all in one. And so we just couldn't discern it. So we now have $4,000 that just popped up this year. And I think we would probably going to recommend, I'm going to look tomorrow at what the credit of the chart of accounts says for the state. and we'll put it in a separate place, but it's just got to be tracked separately to the extent where we could get a separate banking account for it. But it would be at the Bank of Millbrook like the other accounts, but that's a good thing. So, and if any of these other developments that we're working with the planning board on to make sure happen, then there'll be more recreation fees. Now, the final budget transfers would be, if you look at the engineering and you look at the attorneys, so from our consultant fees, we spent a lot more on legal this year in 2021 than we did on engineering. So normally what we do is just transfer one into the other, which is what we're recommending here. So we would move the money from engineering into, I mean, we had a $70,000 budget for engineering. We spent $15,000. So we moved that surplus over to cover the attorney fees that were much higher because we did annexation and things like that. Summer camps, the after school labor charges were over budget by 8,600. The summer camps labor was way over. So we want to move 8,606 over to cover. It's all in recreation, but just to be specific. So with the highway department, they spent a lot more on machinery this past year, as you know. And so what we want to do is they didn't use in 2021, they didn't come near using their snow removal budget. So it's all in highway, just like the other one's all in recreation and the first one's all the consultants. But we would move the snow removal, the contractual money and the labor cost, the PS, over to cover the overages in highway fund line 5130. And that's a wash. And then as far as budget amendments, we didn't finish up a few things. For example, we transferred $1.6 million into our capital projects fund. That was coming from unassigned fund balance. We discussed it at a meeting, but I couldn't find where we actually voted on it. And I remember talking about it that night. It was on a chart and everything, but I don't remember a vote. So we're going to vote on it to make sure it's in the record. And then for the the 250,000, that's for the highway. Do you remember when Ed first got elected, there was a sum of money in the unallocated, the fund balance for highway, because none of the paving had been done that year, the previous year.
Right.
So over the 2 years, the first year we voted on it, and then this year for 2021, we needed also, we need to vote on the unassigned unappropriated fund balance in highway to cover the permanent improvements. He spent it, but we want to just have a record showing that we voted on it. It was 250,478 out of that unassigned fund balance from highway. And the final one is a small one at 1681, but just to make sure that we're perfect, or I'm assuming we're buttoned up. Can't say perfect, but remember when we have special things like the balloon rental, we charge more for the constables than they normally get paid because they're working 3 days, like all day long. So we charge the vendor of the Chamber of Commerce at a higher rate, and then we pass that on to the constables for these special events. And so it caused the constables labor line to go higher than budgeted, of course. And so
For good reason, yeah.
yeah, but the money went into the facility rentals area. So we pulled it out of facility rentals over here to make the constables labor costs a wash. So these are the last ones of the year. And it makes us, we want them in the record, and we want to make sure, should we get audited, and these reports are in place. All right. So I'd like to move that we accept these transfers for board approval, the summary of banks, the bank transfer, the budget transfers, and the budget amendments. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor of these, of the aforementioned transfers, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay, that motion carries. All right, terrific. At this point, I'd like to thank you for that. I think that really cleans up our year nicely. I'd like to ask that we have your motion to pay the bills.
Yes, so moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pay the bills. Thank you, gentlemen. Now we'd like to turn to Sue Kilcrease, who's been waiting patiently to make public comments on town issues. Hi, Sue. Sorry to keep you waiting.
No
Wait a
problem.
minute, I want to make sure.
Lisa,
I think you're muted. Wait a minute.
I'm not.
There you go. Okay, start over. Now we can hear you.
Hi. Thank you for all spending this time. Lots of great things going on. I'm looking forward to the little library in Timor to visit, and a new park, Godfrey Park. It's going to be great. But as we all know, our country has become more and more divisive, and this has trickled down to our state and local levels, as we all witnessed with yesterday's election. I would like to suggest that the town of Unionville take the high road, and that we all work together to become a welcoming committee for all, regardless of our politics. And I have some ideas, of course, of how to make this happen. And I hope you receive them in a positive light. One thing is to make some of our events, some of our family events, such as the Easter egg hunt. You talked about community night coming up, the holiday lightings. These are family events. Make them politic free. Give the families a respite from all the noise, let them come and just enjoy being with their families and their friends, and let the politicians stay home. So that would be one way. Another thing is to other events that have traditionally welcomed both political parties. That's fine if both parties are represented, such as Community Day. It's been very traditional. Each party has their table. That's fine. But again, look at it and see what are the parameters. Once those fireworks go off and families just want to, chill, give them that time to relax and not be bothered by politics. Another thing is when and if a candidate asks the town board or asked to speak to at an event or to a group of people, make sure both sides of the story are represented. This is not only fair to all the candidates, but it's fair to all the residents. They deserve both sides and not to get just a one-sided point of view. And then finally, any information distributed via the town email should just be impartial, and not imply in any way an endorsement of a candidate or an issue. And I think that would make everybody feel more welcome. I'm thinking of our newest residents. We have a lot of people moving in. I think everybody should feel welcome, no matter what point of view they have. And to know that they can come to a Timor event, a Unionville event, and be welcome no matter what. So I am more than happy to work with any of you to kind of ponder these things and see if we can make some of this happen. Thank you.
Okay. I think that's something, I think that, I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but I do want to clear up one thing. If you're talking about that senior meeting last week where they had some people come, I didn't even know the election for the school board was as fractured as you just mentioned, but that senior meeting was distributed for the seniors. And other people do come and ask to have things distributed on Unionville Mail. And I think there were 3 people that were going to speak to the seniors. I don't know them personally, but I know we distributed a flyer for them, but that happens a lot where people request or a department wants something going out for them, but I don't think that serves as an endorsement. So I don't know if that's what you meant, but I want to make sure that was an endorsement. The seniors were just letting people know because they didn't think they'd have enough of their own people there. So anyway, so just to clear that up, but thank you for those ideas. I don't know, how we want to handle that exactly, but maybe we can talk about it and, we'll see where it goes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. We appreciate your patience for waiting. Does anybody else have any comments on town issues? Okay, well, at this point then, I'd like someone to make a motion to move, we adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you all very much for being here.